So welcome back, guys. Good morning, everyone. Again, I hope you all have practiced whatever we have taken so far. And if you have any doubts, please feel to bring me. Right. And in the meantime, we'll try to add assertion for our test, right? Because without assertions, the test is not meaningful. So we'll try to add an assertions. Again, you can use test-ng assertions, but in my case, I'm going to use AssertJ assertions. Even the rest assured library comes with the hamcrest assertions. Okay, but it's up to you which assertions you want to use. Suppose this hamcrest will not be available in case of your Selenium or APM. So in everywhere you can use the AssertJ. So anything, whatever you feel that is more comfortable, you can use it. You can also use hamcrest assertions, but there are basically the rest assured is having a lot of options, right? So sometimes we get overwhelmed and we'll try to mix and match a lot of things. We make our framework more clumsy, right? One place we use hamcrest matches, other place we use AssertJ, some place we use test-ng assertions. So we don't want to do that, right? That's why I haven't even spoken about it. But yeah, AssertJ is a brilliant library. You can do almost all the assertions what we are doing with other libraries with very simple way. Right? So that's the beauty about AssertJ. We're gonna do little assertions for now. So let's go there and then try to get AssertJ Maven dependency. Go to their Maven repo, find the latest version, and copy this. And let's open the POM.xml. Or you can open it from here. And then the scope is the scope test here means it is only applicable within the src test folder. Okay, if you try to use any of the AssertJ stuff inside src main java, it won't recognize. Okay, the scope lies within the src test folder. Okay, good. So now let's go back to the get test, and we all know what kind of response it gives. So let's introduce a new local variable. Okay, so response dot pretty print. Okay, so we want to see the response, we can do this, but in my case I want to do the assertions. So assertions is basically a class that is coming from org.assertj.core.api. Okay, dot assert that. There is a method called assert that takes in all the different types of parameters. See, float, integer array, short. If you want to do a comparison of byte array, double array, whatever, but you need to pass an actual value here. Okay, you can do the assertions of any of the parameter type. Okay, see, map, short, atomic long, whatever the stuff that Java has, all the types, you can use it here. So yeah, so in our case, we're gonna first let's try to assert the response code. So response dot get status code. So this basically an integer, right? So I can play around with it. So what I want to do, I want to do is equal to, so this thing is equal to 201 or 200 or what, right? I want to do the comparison. You can also add is not equal to. Okay, it is not equal to, okay, 201. Okay, whatever stuff you want to do, you can also add it. But in this case, if it is equal to 200, it will be not equal to 201. So definitely there is no need to check for that. Okay, you can also check is positive. Okay, is not positive. There are a lot of things. Okay, is close to, suppose you don't know how much suppose the result is going to be between 10 to 15, then you can use is close to, using the offset, or you can use the percentage. Okay, there are a lot of options. Whether you want to check it is even, you don't have to do the comparison yourself. So it is even is already there, so you don't have to do modulus of 2 equal to 0. Whether you want to check whether it is greater than a particular number, whether it is less than particular number, you can also check whether it is negative. All these things are basically available for you to do. Okay, so you don't have to write a lot of lines of code, and that is the beauty about using AssertJ. Okay, good. Again, you can also do the static import for this assertions class, so that you can do add static import, so that uh, this is a static method. This assert that is a static method. So you can write import static org.assertj core API and then the class name. Inside this there are multiple methods, basically that assert assert that method. We are doing a static import so that you don't have to mention the class. Now the code becomes more readable. Any doubts? I thought someone stopped me. Okay, so this is how basically we can do the assertions. Let's try to run the test and see what's happening. Okay, I have made a mistake, so I didn't start on my JSON server. So let's go to the JSON server folder and start it. Okay, so whenever you get this connect exception, connect refuse, which means your server is not available or you cannot reach to the particular server. Either, if you're using in your company this rest assured, maybe this can be because of proxy. Okay, because you are trying to reach a server that is located outside your particular company network, then if you didn't configure your proxy, maybe your company's firewall may block you from accessing that particular server. So whenever you're getting java.net.connect exception, just understand that it has something to do with the server, but most of the cases the server will be there, but you cannot reach to it because there is a firewall or something that is blocking it. Okay, so just make sure whenever you see the server, you check whether your server is up and running or basically the proxy is being all set. Okay, good. And let's try to run it now again.
Muthan, this is a type of 500 error, right?
Yeah. So if you notice, we are getting the response here. Okay, suppose let's say I want to check the assert also the number, how much number is there. Okay, I want to do the number of employees present in this array. So if you notice, the response is basically an array. So maybe I want to check how many employees are within this particular server. I want to do that. So let's say I also want to add that. So you can add assert that. How will you do this? So response, okay, this response dot get, say there is something called as JSON path dot get. I want to get the root node. So the root node is basically dollar, denoted by dollar. Okay, this is basically a list, right? So this is basically a list. So I can basically mention get list. Okay, get list at this particular point, and I want to get the size of it. Okay, for getting a list, I want to get the size of it, and I want to check is whether it is positive, and then is greater than 30. So for me, I'm just okay to validate whether it is greater than 30. I'm not worried about the exact number in this case. So I can write assertions like this, and then I can do the comparison. Okay, so the entire resulting set, you can create it as a local variable with an integer type, and then you can validate it. Yeah, suppose let's say I change this to is less than 30. Let's see whether it is showing proper error. Okay, so let's see the error. What is the assertion error it's showing? So expecting the 93 to be less than 30, which is actually not the case, so it's failing. So you can, suppose if you want to change some give some your own description here, then you can add some method called as. Okay, this method can pass the description. Okay, suppose I'm validating the size of uh, the employee array or something. Okay, so something like this. Now if this fails, you also can see the description being printed out top of it, so that if you are trying to insert your own description into the reports, whenever there is a failure, you can use this as there is other method also, but yeah, this is more than enough for us. Okay, so now this time it is telling, see, there is an assertion failure while I am validating the size of the employee array. So it's more meaningful than before, right? Yeah, so that's how we can leverage the methods available in AssertJ library. Please guys, please watch the tutorial that I posted in YouTube. That's very mandatory. so that you can understand more about AssertJ. Okay, good. For now we have written some tests. This is all good. Now let's create one more test in the get employees. Okay, through this, and this time I'm not going to make okay, let me fetch the particular employee detail. Okay, get employee detail. This is maybe get employees detail. I want to get only one employee detail, so I'm naming it as get employee detail. Okay, and this I have included as a path param. So what I can do, after the base URI, you can include, there is a path parameter. If you see something as ID, and just replace that with some number. Okay, so this what it'll do at runtime, ID will be replaced with 2. Okay, so now I'm trying to get the response code and whether it is equal to 200, and this time is not going to return as I don't know, it'll maybe return as a array. Let's see whether it is positive, and then it is also less than 30. Okay, let's try to run it and then see what's happening. It'll return only one. Okay, so let's see what's up. So it has returned me a JSON object. Okay, so that there is an error. You cannot convert a map to a list. So basically you can change this to get map, and you are checking the size, and then or if you want to validate something else, suppose I want to validate last name, you can also do that. So let's also remove this because we already learned about it. So assert that I want to get response dot JSON path dot, and this time I want to get a string out of it, because I'm going to validate the last name is this. Okay, so I can do this last underscore name. That's the JSON path, right? And I'm going to do is equal to this particular guy. Okay, that's it, guys. Okay, you can also add any other like you want to check the size is less than, or okay, I also want to check it has size, whether the size is between uh, 3 to 20. Okay, within this particular range. You can also do all these things. Okay, whether the size of this particular string is between this range. Okay, and you can also add dot as, and then the description comparing the last underscore name node in the response, whatever, some meaningful name. Okay, once you do this, you can also run it. Okay, this time the assertion getting passed, all good. But if you notice, only the response we are printing, we are not printing the request. So you can add log dot all, so it will print all the request parameters as well. Okay, so the same way you can add it. Okay, and if you quickly notice, there are certain things that we are repeating. One is the given, the base URI, the log, all, everything is almost same. Okay, only the get endpoint is getting changed. All other things remains the same. Okay, almost same. Okay, until here. So in this case, can we try to shorten this? Like, is there any better way how we can write this? Okay, let's do that. Let's try to do it and optimize this particular piece of code. So I have src main Java. So one of the code that I'm going to create is not part of a test itself. Okay, it's basically some utility that we are going to help us to wrap all this information into. We don't want to write these repetitive lines of code. Again, if you want to do it, you can also do it. But yeah, I'm telling you other ways. So we cannot write it in src test Java. So what I'm going to do, there is an src main Java folder. I'm going to create a new class. So com.tmb. Let's name it as utils, and let's name this as API utils. Okay, some utilities that are going to help us to construct our API, so we'll name it as API utils. Okay, and let's name this as final for now, and right, because I'm keeping it as private because I don't want someone to extend this class. Okay, I don't want someone to extend this class, because people normally write the basic starters in automation, they extends everything. They extends everything even if there is no inheritance relationship. So I don't want people to extend this and use this particular method. So I'm stopping this by using final. I'm also want to shield my constructor because I'm want to have all my methods static, so there is no reason to create an object for this particular class. So I'm shielding that as well. And here I'm going to expose public static uh, and let's keep it as void for now, and get so get or we can say build request for get calls. Okay, you help me this method gonna help you to build your request for your get calls. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is return I'm gonna do the static imports here because I'm gonna use given here. So import static io dot rest assured dot star. Okay, and here I'm gonna simply return a given. What else is common? So is log dot all, and apart from that I also have base URI that is common. Okay, so the base URI is this. Okay, and what else? Everything. So these things are very common. Okay, so I have taken until here, and once you do this you can return this. Now this going to basically return you request specification. Okay, so request specification is the class that is providing the implementation of this all these things. Okay, so let's make this to return request specification, guys. So now let's go to the test, and instead of writing this whole bunch of line, okay, you can just simply tell API utils, okay, dot build request for get calls. That's it. Once you do this, okay, it'll take care of the all the stuff. And on top of it you want to build something. Yeah, I want to build a path parameters. I want to add the get ones. You cannot add all these things. Okay, the same way here also you don't have to mention all these things. Okay, so here API utils dot build. That's it, guys. Okay, so now this is gonna do all the job for you, and you only focus on doing the get operation to a particular endpoint. Here you are only focusing on hitting this particular endpoint and replacing the path parameter. So this is how you can optimize your piece of code, right? The same way when you are doing the post calls we can also do that. Okay, let's try to uh, create some post tests. So I want to create some post tests, and again let's try to create a test, and let's name this as post post call test. Give some meaningful name. For now ignore my names or whatever the name I'm giving. Yeah, so now we wanna make a post call to this particular endpoint, and then we'll try to create an employees. What is the approach that we can do? Let's construct an pojo, and then we'll try to hit it, and then we'll also use builder patterns and lombok to construct that, and then we'll send the post calls. Okay, we have already seen how to do all these things. So I'm going a little faster here, but if you have still doubts you can always stop me and let me know. Okay, good. So now our goal is to create an employee in the database using post call, and a request body I'm gonna construct using Pojo. Okay, and Lombok builder. Okay, you can also use other ways, but for now my focus is to design a framework, and that's what I'm going to do. So here if you notice we have created a package and have created an utility that's going to help us to basically construct the request for us, right? The same way we want to create an employee class here. So I cannot create it under a com.tmb.utils. Definitely I cannot create the pojo classes under a com.tnb.test. So the only way that I could do is you can go here and then create a new class from the package com.tmb. This is basically pojo, right? So this is going to have all the pojos related to that, and the class name is employee. Okay, so this gonna create a package for me and then create a class for me. So okay, this is the beauty about using IntelliJ. Good. In this particular employee class I'm gonna have very limited fields for now, because we have already learned how to build a complex uh, JSON, already. So I'm gonna for time being, I'm gonna keep it really simple here. uh, I'm gonna have private string first name, okay, and then private string last name. Let's keep it very limited, because you all know how to construct an employee class, complex JSON, all those things you already know. Let's keep it very limited to this fields, and let's try to focus more on the framework designing part. Okay, and I'm gonna add some getters here, or you can directly add the builder. Builder is more than enough. It's gonna help you to do all these things. And yeah, let's go to the test, post test. Now employee dot, you have the builder method dot. So if you notice, again, ID, first name, last name is coming, but I also want to do some changes here. I want to add setter prefix equal to set, so that it's more meaningful for me. Now if you type the set first name, set ID, the first name, I'm gonna hard code it for now. Let's say this, set last name, and set ID. Okay, something like this. And once you do all these things, introduce a new local variable, and they can name it as, sorry guys, you also need to call the build method, otherwise okay, yeah. So you can wrap it in different lines so that it's readable. Okay, now if you, so I will name it as employee, and now I want to send this to. So first, again, you need to add given. This is a different class, and you need to add the static imports. Rest issue dot star. Okay, and here given, uh, again, the base URI, you have your HTTP localhost colon 3000, and then you have to log your request, all the things. Okay, and we also have the content type, right? So content type is basically content type JSON. Okay, you can pass it as a header as well. Okay, you can use header and then pass like this dot header. Okay, you can pass it like this. Okay, content hyphen type, comma, content type dot JSON. Okay, you can pass it as a header like this, or you can use dot content type method, and then you can tell it is a content type of JSON. At runtime, it will construct a header, and then it will send it. So it's a this content type is a method from your rest assured, which internally does the conversion of your content type method to header with this particular values. Okay, so you either follow this or follow that, anything is fine. So if someone is using like this, you don't have to worry about it. They all actually doing like this. Okay, so yeah, once you do all these things, I want to pass the body. So the body is basically the employee one, and I want to do a post call. uh, so this particular post call, I want to send it to employees endpoint. Okay, employees endpoint. Okay, let's try to get the response out of it, and let's do assertions, assertions dot assert that, and I want to assert whether the response dot get status code is basically is equal to 201. Okay, for now, very simple assertion. Let's see whether it is working. Let's try to make a call. So there is a failure here, because no properties to create bean serializer, fail on empty beans. Okay, there is something like this. Let's go and check in the pom.xml whether we have added the Jackson data bind. I hope we already added it. Okay, Jackson data bind is added, but still it cannot work, because in the employee class we didn't create the getters Okay, for your employee class to be serialized and deserialized, you at least need the getter methods out of it. So let's call the getters, okay, from the Lombok. So it will create basically getter methods for all these things. Now the serialization and deserialization will happen using a Jackson library. So let's go back and then try to run it. So now if you notice, it has actually constructed this request and then it is sending. So but it was failing because the expected was 201, but it was actually 500. And why it was 500? We are making a correct call. Application JSON, yes, it's correct. Expected is but getting 500. Okay, let's check whether our server is up and running. Also there, maybe it reached some we have created more than that. Let's try to create once again. Yeah, making the post calls. Let's see what is the response it is printing, so that so if there is a failure, try to analyze that. Okay, so again it's telling, see, duplicate ID. So this ID is already present, that's the reason it's failing. So let's try to basically remove this and then use Java Faker to generate it. Okay, new Faker dot okay, you have to import it. Just a minute, guys. Import that from that particular class, and then now the number, and I want to generate the number between say, let's say 30 and 1000, something like this. Okay, and then this time this will pass. Okay, this is okay now. Now when we are designing the framework, okay, I have seen people using like this. Okay, this is absolutely will work fine, guys. Okay, but imagine, okay, imagine we are using a third-party library. Okay, this applicable to all the third-party libraries that you are using. Don't directly use that library in your code. Okay, you should not use like this. It is absolutely wrong. Why? Suppose, let's say tomorrow this Faker library guys have changed this, and then they told, okay, if you want to generate a number between these things, you should not use like this. Instead you should use like number, and then just between. So you don't have to tell number between. They have changed the method name to just between. Okay, and then you can pass these two parameters. Okay, now they have made a new change in their new version. Okay, so what you will do, you will stick to their old version, so that you don't have to touch, because this particular one you have used in almost all your test cases. Okay, there are 100 test cases you have used in all of these. Okay, you cannot go and simply change all these things to between. I'm just telling a simple example, but it's not the case. Okay, they may change this number to ID number. Okay, they may change like this. Okay, if they change the method name, or if they change the way they use the particular method, okay, then you have to do the change in all the places. That's when you can use something called as facade pattern to shield everything. And then let's try to do it so that you can understand. I don't want to speak about design patterns for now, but let's try to avoid this problem. Okay, if there is a future change, I don't want people to come and change in all the places. That's the problem statement. Let's try to resolve that. Okay, let's try to, in the utils class, let's create a class called as random utils. Okay, okay, so this random utils gonna do all the help for me. Okay, I don't want someone to extend this, so let's keep it as final. And I'm gonna have all the static methods here, so there is no use in exposing my constructor. So here, public static string, sorry, this is basically a number, right? So int get id. Okay, so I'm gonna do return uh, okay, I'm gonna have one more class here. Guys, I'll explain you why I'm doing all these things. So let's me create one more class that's called as faker utils. And this is also basically final. and I'm gonna have this as facade. So public static int get number. Okay. Just let me create it and explain to you guys. Okay. Okay. Now if someone is asked, I have created a get number method that accepts two arguments, that's your start value and end value. And now I'm basically leveraging the I don't want to create this, I already have the object for this. So the number, and I'm internally calling number between mm, let's say whatever the start value that they're passing and the end value they are passing. Okay, basically I'm going to generate that, but instead of directly giving them access, I'm having my business layer. This random utils is basically a business layer. Okay, here you can encapsulate all your logic. Okay, suppose if there is a change, suppose you don't want to generate a number between a particular range, okay, you don't want to do that, then you can write your logic here. Okay, suppose people who wants id now will call just get id. Okay, now I'm here applying my logic. Okay, well what I'm doing, I'm basically calling faker utils. Okay, and then dot get number. Here I'm applying my logic, that is it has to generate from only 100 to 1000. Okay. Okay, now if there is a business change, okay, tomorrow my business owner comes to me and tells, hey, we want to generate the number only from 1000 to 2000 because all the numbers are already already been used. So I can come and change the logic here. Okay, I have to generate only from 1000 to 2000. Okay, this is a business layer, all the business level changes you can do here. Okay, and you have another class that's faker utils. Here if there is a change tomorrow, okay, the external library that is your faker is changing it from number between to just between, you can come and change in this one particular place. Okay, that's it, you were done with your changes. Okay, but previously it was not the case. Okay, so we have accommodated two things. Okay, if there is a business change where you have to do it, if there is actually the third party library change, then where you can do it. Okay, this we call it as facade, because we have a layer, okay, between your normal days, right? In normal days, if you are, some people will use this, or some people will at least create a faker utils and then they directly call this method. Okay, they will not have an intermediate business layer. So if there is a business change, they will again come and do this. Okay, let's try to keep everything separate, right? If there is a business change or business level changes, do it here. If there is a third party level changes, do it here. Okay, next time if someone is needing a first name, okay, I'm going to generate a method here, okay, that's going to return a string first name. Okay, so get first name, and this first name is going to basically return something called as a faker utils dot get I don't have a method there, maybe I go there and create a method. Okay, string get string, this is basically string, right? So you encapsulate your logic here. Okay, return figure dot name dot first name, what else? Okay, now we can basically tell get first name, anything. Okay, good. I'm going to basically call the get first name method. Okay, here if there is something changes that I want to do, okay, I can do this. Okay, suppose what are the name that is generating, I want to convert that to lowercase and then pass it. Okay, okay, for whatever the name you give, I convert to lowercase. This is my business use case. Okay, I otherwise I want to only see whether if it is starting with a, then only I want to pass it. Some weird business rules you have, then you can accommodate those rules. Okay, good. So now in my case, I'm just passing it as a lowercase. Okay, the same way you can use it for the last name. Okay, good. Let's go there, and maybe I'll also do that. Okay, get guys, this applicable to all your things. Okay, whatever the third party library you use, you create a business layer, then you create the service layer, and then you use it. Okay, then only you can accommodate future changes. I see people developing automation framework without all this knowledge. Okay, at the end, when it comes to maintenance, they struggle a lot. Okay, if you create a framework at this, at this, keeping this in mind, then you don't have to make a lot of changes into your code. That's when it makes your job easy. Okay, good. Let's try to create one more method here. That's basically get last name. Okay, so now let's go here. Then okay, now let's go and use it in our code. So this time I'm going to use random utils dot get id. Okay, here also random utils dot get first name or last name, whatever. And if you notice, this is a static method, right? So I can do a static import. So add a static imports for these, so you don't have to mention them. So again, next time you can get first name. That's it. Okay, this is static import. We've already added static imports. So if you notice, com.tmp.utils.randomutils, which means you can call the static methods directly without using this class name. Okay, that's the advantage, right? Let's go to the random utils and see. um, the in the faker utils we have created the methods, but they are all for public. Okay, still there are some people who don't listen to us. What they will do, whenever they are using, they will use something like faker utils. Again, they will call the faker utils method. Okay, faker utils dot get first name. Okay, they will directly access this, but I don't want people to directly access this, so I can provide some restrictions. Okay, so in faker utils I can just change it to protected. So or maybe the default one. Okay, so it can be only accessed within the package. Okay, you can access this faker utils from random utils because they are all part of the same package. But if you go and try to access this from this particular class, faker utils dot, okay, you don't get these methods because those methods are only having default access modifiers, so they cannot be accessed from different package. Okay, that's the beauty about see, very simple things, right? I'm not speaking about complex things. Very simple stuff. Create a layer in between your stuff, and then I'm asking you to create a private constructor, final classes, private static constants, and then default access modifier. Very simple Java concepts. I'm not using some multi-threading, Lambda expression, all those stuff. Very simple things, but I can definitely help you to create more beautiful framework. Good. Any doubts so far, guys? Hello.
It's clear, Ramadan.
Yeah, good. So now see, next time whenever you're using an external library, don't directly use it. Okay, create a service layer, create a business layer like this, and then use it. Okay, if someone is asking why you are writing so much of code, tell them, this is for future maintenance, not for this. This may not be really helpful now, but on a future date it will be really helpful. Again, guys, you can if you feel you want to do a static import, you can do it. But in this case, this clearly tells that I'm calling this get number method from faker utils. So I leave like this. You can also do the static import like this. Okay, so you don't have to mention it all the places. Whatever you feel comfortable, you can do it. Okay, good. So now in the post method, if you notice, we have all these things. Okay, basically given base URI, content log, all these things gonna remain the same. Okay, can we create a new another method here in the API utils and then encapsulate all this information, right? So here let's create one more thing. Let's uh, build a request for post calls. Okay, because we are going to make only 4 type of calls. If you create something like this, it's going to really help you. Okay, on top of it, what I want to do, I want to basically do content type. And because apart from that, whatever we have only thing that is different is content type. Okay, because all of the things gonna remain the same. So in those cases, either you can also remove this, okay, and build a request for get calls, and then you can add only this. Okay, anything that suits you, but you can also give the full stuff as well. Okay, but in my case, I'm gonna do like this. Just copy this, and let's go to the post test. And instead of all these things, okay, I'm gonna do API utils dot build a request for post calls. Okay, good. So this how you can start using your code. Good guys. So we can also add a lot of assertions. You can also uh, read from an external file and then write to it. So in the API utils, again, you can also create. So maybe this one is not basically maybe API builders. Let's name it this as let's refactor and rename this to API builders, because it's actually helping us to uh, create API request body. So you can name it as API builders. So I can create a separate class called as API utils, where our REST utils or file util, something like this. So which you can basically use to read from an external file and then write it to an external file. Because in one of our cases, we have actually read the request from external files and then pass it into the body, right? So those kind of operations, you can create a class like this and put it inside that, so that it's be more easy for you. Okay, and maybe so let's stop here, and then if you have any doubts, you can ask me. We will continue with the remaining sessions tomorrow, and we'll try to build more on top of it. Any doubts so far, guys? Otherwise, I have a small work I have to go, so I'm closing a little early, like 5 minutes early. Any doubts before you close? Even here I can make one change, because this is not more not an util anymore. So com.tnb, inside that I'm gonna create a package called as a builder, or I can name it as request builder, and I can move this file to there. Okay, effect. Now this is a request builder that's gonna help us to build an API request body, or I can also name this more meaningful. Okay, small things that are matter, guys. Okay, it's okay that we don't create everything in a standardized way in the first way, but if we see there is some scope for improvement, we'll do it. Okay, it's a request builder that's going to help us to build a request stuff. So I'm naming it as request builder, more readable. It's a correct place to keep it in a framework. Okay, we have faker utils, we have random utils, all good. Okay, okay, anyways, let's stop here, guys. Any quick doubts before we wrap?
No, Muthan.
Okay, please create the framework along with me. That's very important. Okay, nobody gonna teach you all this business layer logic, all those things, because they also don't use it. Okay, I have learned this from my Spring Boot. I have seen my developers code. I asked them why they are doing it. Okay, I was also used to do like this, but when I see there is something that scope for something to improve, we can improve it. Unless we know this, these type of things exist, okay, we really don't put efforts to change the way we code. Okay, so I'm just showing you the path that there is still a lot of way that we can improve our code. So try to learn all those things and improvise your way of coding. Good, guys. You all have a very good day. I'll see you all soon tomorrow. Okay, bye.